You're watching South Asia Newsline and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 17th of December. One nation, one election introduced in Parliament fails to gain two-thirds majority. China says ready to enhance mutual trust with India at border talks. And Sri Lanka's bondholders sign off on $12.6 billion debt overhauls. And now for all the details. The One Nation, One Election Bill was introduced in lower house of the Indian Parliament on Tuesday, resulting in ruckus in the house by opposition parties. With 269 MPs voting in favour and 198 against, Union Law Minister Arjun Meghwal defended the bill aimed at synchronizing elections across the country. Congress leader Jairam Ramesh labelled it unconstitutional, warning it threatens democracy and accountability. The bill required 307 votes to pass but received only 269, with Congress stating that the bill does not have support and many parties have spoken against it. The bill proposes to amend 3 articles of the Constitution and insert a new one, Article 82A. These proposed amendments were recommended by the High-Level Committee on One Nation, One Election chaired by former President Ramnath Kovind, which submitted its report to the incumbent President Draupadi Murmu in March. It states that the provisions of the amendment will come into effect on an appointed date, which the President will notify in the first sitting of the Lok Sabha after a general election.
To introduce a bill, you don't need two-thirds majority. The bill has only been introduced and been referred to the JPC for further deliberation. My question to the opposition is, if what is happening today is murder of democracy, if what is happening today is an assault on the federal structure, do they mean to say that prior to 1971, when for almost 20 years there was simultaneous elections in the country, do they mean to say that for 20 years under the Prime Ministership of Nehru ji, Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, Indira ji, murder of democracy took place because of simultaneous elections?
Anti-constitutional bill. It's against the federalism of our nation and we are opposing the bill.
As India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is set to visit Beijing, China on Tuesday said it is ready to work with India to enhance mutual trust through dialogue and communication and manage differences with sincerity and integrity. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi and Doval are set to meet in Beijing in the resumption of talks under their Special Representatives Dialogue mechanism since deadly border clashes sowed ties 4 years ago. Chinese President Xi Jinping met Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Russia in October, just days after the two countries reached a deal on patrolling their disputed frontier to end a 4-year military standoff. The border standoff between India and China began in eastern Ladakh in 2020 and was sparked by Chinese military actions. It led to prolonged tensions between the two nations, significantly straining their relations. This would be the first such meeting in 5 years. The last one was in New Delhi in 2019. Moving on, authorities in Pakistan on Monday reported that gunmen targeted vaccination teams in northwestern Khyber Pakhtunkhwa during a nationwide campaign against poliovirus, resulting in the deaths of at least 1 health worker and 2 police officers. Several polio workers and police force members escorting them were also injured in the attack. This is the 3rd such incident in recent months in the region. There was, however, no immediate claim of responsibility. Pakistan has reported a significant surge in polio cases in 2024, confirming 63 cases so far compared to only 6 cases in 2023. The World Health Organization lists Pakistan and Afghanistan as the only 2 countries where the potentially fatal polio virus continues to cripple children. Moving on, the Indian Coast Guard's 2 patrol vessels arrived in Maldives' capital Malé on Monday as part of their ongoing deployment to the Indian Ocean region. The visit underscores India's efforts to bolster maritime collaboration and enhance bilateral ties within the region, the officials noted. During their 4-day stay, the ship's crew will engage with the Maldives Coast Guard in a series of professional interactions. The agenda also includes cross-deck training sessions, collaborative discussions and friendly sports events, reflecting the shared commitment to maritime safety and security. After their Maldives visit, the vessels will move towards Sri Lanka with planned stops in Colombo for professional engagements with their Sri Lankan counterparts. Sri Lanka's bondholders signed off on the government's proposal to restructure its $12.55 billion of international bonds, a key step in finalizing the island nation's debt rework. Final results showed holders representing 97.86% of the outstanding principal on the existing bonds voted in favor of the plan, which will swap Sri Lanka's defaulted bonds on a series of new fixed income instruments, the government said in a statement. The South Asian island nation's new instruments include a governance-linked bond, which offers a 75 basis point reduction in the interest rate payable if Sri Lanka meets certain governance targets. With the finalizing of the bond exchange, Sri Lanka will become the 4th country to conclude a restructuring of its bonds this year. Around 111 couples tied the nuptial knot at a mass marriage ceremony in India's Surat city on Monday. What made the event special was that all the girls were orphans and came from different religious backgrounds. The event was organized by a city businessman, Mahesh Savani, who has married off more than 900 poor girls since 2008. The marriage ceremonies were conducted according to the religions the couples belong to.
इस टाइम 111 बेटियों का शादी और निकाह है, उसमें 2 बेटियों का निकाह है और बाकी सभी बेटियां वो हिंदू धर्म की है। एक बेटी बंगाली है, 5 बेटियां महाराष्ट्रियन है और 2 बेटी यूपी की है।
Group marriages are becoming very popular, especially among the economically backward sections of the Indian society, as these reduce the worries of financial implications among the parents or guardians of the brides. Several voluntary organizations and individuals are now campaigning against high-cost marriages and social evils like dowry by hosting mass marriages.
मेरे पिताजी नहीं है, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा फील ही नहीं हो रहा है कि मेरे पिताजी नहीं है, क्योंकि जैसा मैंने सोचा भी नहीं था वैसी शादी आज मेरे महेश पापा करवा रहे हैं, तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा फील हो रहा है।
That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.